Hi, this is Anna Horford, and you're listening to Horford Happy Hour. Hi guys, thanks for joining me on another episode of Horford Happy Hour. This week we are talking societal expectations, and we're going to be discussing everything from physical appearance to relationships and double standards to marriage and kids. And our guest this week is Cristina Capron, and she came on a couple episodes into Horford Happy Hour. It was my fitness episode, and now she's back joining me again to talk about this. I'm excited to have her. How's it going, Teeny?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. And this week we're drinking, it's called Josh. I think that's like the only name.
Yeah, Josh Sellers Merlot.
Yeah, as Cristina said, it's very oaky.
I don't know why I said that, because I don't have a good palate.
Yeah, but you were like spot on.
I know.
Like right away she was like, oak. And then I turned the bottle around to read it, and it says savory spices and toasted oak. And so your palate, I mean, it must be maturing.
Yeah, just growing and developing every day. I don't know.
And this is actually a really good one.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like Merlot.
I've had it on my list for a while, and I know a couple of my followers have recommended it and stuff, and I think it's pretty tasty. So
yeah, I like it.
All right, so let's jump into things. The first thing I wanted to talk about as far as just society and, ridiculous expectations is one that kind of impacts so many people, and it's physical appearance. So, and I think that's something that you can speak a lot to because you're a professional trainer. And what do you think are the biggest challenges that women, I guess, and men face when it comes to physical appearance and just how they look every day?
I think it's comparing yourself to others. I mean, I feel like maybe we talked about this on the last episode, but it really is like the root of like evil. I feel like, I mean, everyone's guilty of it, honestly, to an extent, but you have to like step back and realize that the beauty in humans is like being different, and not like everyone wants to like, well, what I see a lot is like girls want to shrink themselves because like that's what they think beautiful is. I don't know.
Do you feel like, okay, you're in the fitness world, so do you feel like, I know that it happens to men and women, but I kind of feel like it's a little harder for women because I feel like our standards are set much higher. Like men have high standards too, but I feel like men can kind of get away with things that women can't. Like remember when like the dad bod was really popular for a while and stuff, like if there was an equivalent to that, like the mom bod, that never went viral. That never, like, people weren't really, jumping for joy about.
Right.
I don't think they jump for joy about that.
I feel like it's kind of a mystery to me. Like, I don't know why. I really don't know why, like, we are, as females, we are so much harder on ourselves than I think men are. You know what I mean? And, like, why do women wear makeup? When did that start? Why did women start wearing makeup, but, like, not men? Like, why did we have to look different than our bare faces? And I just don't, it's just so weird that, like, we're expected to wear makeup, and if you don't, it's like, oh, are you sick?
Yeah, I know. And I'm one of those people who I really do like doing my makeup, and it's kind of like a zen time for me, and I really like getting into it, but at the same time, like, there are some days where I'm just like, fuck it, I don't want to wear it. But then if I'm not wearing it, I'm like, shit, I don't know if I can go to the store. Like, I don't know if I can go, pump gas or whatever. And I mean, I think makeup, it's been around obviously for like centuries, but I'm pretty sure it mainly started with like upper class people and and royalty and things like that. And then people saw that and they wanted that. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of probably how the trend started. And it just kind of evolved from there. And I know a lot of women who feel very empowered by doing their makeup. Yeah. I do sometimes, but you're right, because people are always like, are you gonna die?
Yeah.
Do you have cancer? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I get it. And it's annoying that like we think men are so beautiful without it.
Right.
And like when we look in the mirror, we're like,
Right.
What is that? What is happening?
Seriously, it's so weird. I don't get it. And people, and I don't even like I really don't wear makeup that much anymore. I do like it, like going out. It is fun, like you said, like a zen to like put it on and feel pretty and whatever. But I've gotten like eyelash extensions, which are basically makeup, and microblading, which is basically, they're like semi-permanent makeup. So it's like, I feel good without it, but I'm still wearing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
without it, I would be like,
yeah, but it makes you feel good.
Right.
And I think that's okay, you know, to do things that make you feel good. One of the things that has been instilled in us our whole lives is also seeing other women as competitors and competition.
Yeah.
And like, you'd always get jealous of other girls. And if you're, you know, for a lot of people, if your boyfriend cheated on you with another girl, you get mad at the girl, not at your boyfriend.
That has literally happened to me. That
Really?
happened. I swear to God. But like, yeah, I guess I don't want to go into a ton of detail.
Yeah,
but
you don't
like,
have to name names.
Yeah, I won't name names. But like, in like high school, I slept with someone, and I don't remember the person being with someone else, but I guess they were. And the girl hated me, but the next day hung out with him, and it's still like, I think about it today, I'm like, what in the hell? That happens all the time.
It really does.
Like, it's like the girl's fault. It's like, you should be able to trust like the person that you're with. Like, why are we competing with each other? And that was kind of like what I was talking about in the beginning. Like, we're always comparing ourselves. It's like one girl being pretty means that like you aren't, or something. If you
And it's like,
not like
what's that quote? It's like, my beauty or your beauty doesn't take away from another's. Yeah. Like, that's so true.
So
and
true.
I don't know, but we were all kind of raised to have that mentality. And I like the Mean Girls quote where it's like, you have to stop calling each other sluts and whores because it only makes it okay for guys to call you sluts and whores.
Yes.
And it's like, damn, Tina Fey, you knew.
You knew.
You knew, girl.
She hit it, man, right in the head.
That's so true, because it's like, you know, like, we're all guilty of it being like, oh, she's a slut. It's like, okay, but that guy fucked 20 girls and he's not a slut.
Right.
You know, so why are we hating on ourselves, essentially, you know?
Right.
So yeah. And then I did also want to bring up, like, how we were talking about the makeup, and because it makes you feel good. Like, if, you know, there's something you're super insecure about, or like horrified about, or whatever, you know, I've had friends who've gotten their ears pinned back, or, you know, things like that, like cosmetic adjustments that are safe,
like lip fillers, and nose jobs,
that would
Botox.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, I don't want to be judgmental because it makes some people happy,
right?
So I guess,
but at the same time, it doesn't really help like the cause of like loving yourself.
True.
You know what I mean? True. But at the same time, it is like, do what you want, like, because if you feel like a queen, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good for you. Like, I'm happy for you.
Right. Like, part of you should be like, fuck society, but the other part's like, well, society's constantly judging me, and this is a lot of anxiety.
Right. But I think we think that in our heads, and like people don't look at you like, ooh, she could use some lip fillers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I bet nobody thinks that, but then we stare at ourselves so much that we're like...
There's some mean people out there, though. You know?
That's true.
And
that is true.
We're all guilty of judging others and stuff, and even judging ourselves. And so I think that's something that we as a society, like, kind of really need to work on, you know.
True.
And that kind of takes us into, we were talking about it a little, but relationships and double standards. So my mom, like, always talks about, she raised me to be, you know, pretty feminist, you know, not... I hate when people use the term like feminazi or whatever, because it's not like that. I just believe in equality, right? You know, like,
that's all it is.
Like, everyone should agree on that. But she always says, like, there's a word for a woman who gets pregnant and left, but not a word for the man who leaves. Like, you know, you're called a whore and a slut, your baby's a bastard, but there's not a word for the guy. Like, unless, you know, you're really...
Do people really say that about
women?
Oh, yeah. Of like a single mother?
Yeah. Like, there's, I mean, think about it.
Why would someone be a slut because the dad left? Because she slept with someone she wasn't married to?
Yeah, okay. or that they're unmarried and that the guy left, but the woman carries it around every day. Right. It's like, have you ever seen Juno?
Right.
And she's like, I have the evidence on me every day, but no one's looking at you. Right. You know, like, you're a slut and you did this to me, essentially. Right. And so that's kind of where I think she comes from when she says that. And it's like, you know, men are allowed to sleep around. It's peachy keen. Yes. And then women do it, and it's like, slut.
No, seriously. Even John and I. Yeah. Like, our numbers. Mm-hmm. I've slept with 6 people in my entire life, and I was caught, like, everyone in high school thought I was a slut.
Yeah.
Everyone. But, like, his numbers.
I know.
I don't even want to throw it out there, but
they're up there, people.
It's up there. And, like, nobody would ever... I mean, I call him a slut because I'm allowed, but
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Your kinky pillow talk.
Yeah.
Save that for later.
Oh, God.
It's funny too because John's like giant. He's like 6'10", teen. He's just this little petite thing, and it'd be really funny if you were really like calling him like a slut and dominating him and shit, like dirty slut. I don't want to know. I don't want to know, but that would not surprise me if that was your dynamic. Like,
who knows, man?
I would not be surprised at all. And something else that I wanted to talk about, and you guys probably get this a lot because you've been together for how many years now?
5 almost, yeah.
Almost 5. So we're in our mid-20s and people are getting married left and right. And that's kind of something that gets brought up when you're in a long-term relationship. So does that happen to you and John? And how do you guys react?
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how... It's not... I wouldn't say it's, like, annoying because I honestly feel like we're already married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just don't, like... I don't see a huge rush of, like... Unless, like, one of us had, like, health benefits or something that we... You know what I mean? The other one wanted or needed. But there's no really rush for me to make it legal. Like, of course, I love him and want to, like, do that at some point. But I feel like now it's like you see all your friends getting engaged and you're like, oh my gosh, now I feel like the pressure and like everyone keeps asking me and like, why won't they back off? I don't think I get mad about it at all.
Yeah.
But it is, I bet some people definitely do feel that way. And I feel like so many like couples get engaged because the girl is like constantly like hounding the guy.
Yeah.
Like, when are we going to get engaged?
And then it's like, is that a great start to the marriage?
Right.
You know, if you have
like he felt pressure to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's interesting to me is that, like, I know a lot of millennials are getting married and a lot aren't. Like, some are just completely against marriage, some are for it, whatever. I think it's usually, like, a lot of the times in my friend groups, it's like the more religious people have kind of really taken that up and made the initiative to get married, whether it was, you know, I'm sorry to say it, but to have sex or just because they felt pressured by their family or their church or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, like, I don't really understand the reason or the motivation to, like, get married in your 20s. Because I just feel like 20s are for living and for, like, no restrictions and to really figure your shit out. And, like, 30s, you know, if you want to be 30, have kids, get married, whatever, but at least you know you lived.
Right.
And that you did so much. Like, why do you think that people are in such a rush?
Right. I don't know. I think it's, like... It seems like society standards. Literally, you're like, okay, well, you've been together how many years? Like, and you have to get married now. Like, that's, like, the next step. But it's like, okay, well, also, in your 20s, you're changing so much. And, like, that's literally such a huge part of your life. And if you can make it through that, like, with one significant other, then I feel like you know what I mean? Like, you're good. You guys have battled everything and come out together on top. But... I mean, obviously, if you love someone and you want to get married now, like, get married now. But at the same time, don't rush into it because everyone else is doing it. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
The thing for me is, like, I know people who got married when they were, like, 21, 22 or whatever, and now we're 25, they're already divorced. That shit is nuts. Take your time.
Right.
I don't think something that starts off on the wrong foot, whether it be pressure or whatever, is going to be good for, like, a lasting, healthy relationship. I know to each their own.
Right.
I'd like to take a minute to talk to you guys about Beachbody On Demand. Beachbody On Demand is an easy-to-use streaming service that gives you instant access to a wide variety of super effective workouts you can do from the comfort of your living room 24/7. There are hundreds of effective workouts for all fitness levels, ranging from bodybuilding to weight training to cardio HIIT to yoga and even dance workouts. And you can work out on your schedule. There are workouts as short as 10 minutes that don't require any extra equipment, and you can access it anytime and anywhere. View it on your computer, web-enabled TV, tablet, smartphone, Roku, Apple TV, Chromecast, and more. Right now, I'm doing the 21-Day Fix. It's a 21-day program, 7 days a week, and the workouts are approximately 30 minutes each. I really want you to try this service because it holds you accountable, it provides structure, and it's accessible. Right now, my listeners can get a special free trial membership when you text HHH to 303030. You'll get full access to this entire platform for free. All the workouts, the nutrition information, and support totally free. Just text HHH to 303030. I don't know. And the other thing that really fucking annoys me, and social media really lets you kind of see all of this, is when people kill themselves over having the perfect wedding.
Oh, yeah.
like, okay, you're gonna go into debt for this bitch. You're gonna like lose hair over this bitch. Like, you're just gonna, I don't know. And then they complain about it. It's like, but it was your choice. If you didn't want to stress and you didn't want to spend money, go to the courthouse, use the money that you had or your savings or whatever, go on a bomb-ass 3-week vacation or 4-week vacation.
Make it about you and him or you and her.
Exactly.
Which is who it's about, not all the other people that you're stressed about feeding and impressing with your decorations and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, it just seems so stressful. And I can't really speak on what I would do in that situation because originally, like, my whole life, I'd always wanted a big wedding. We have a big family, you know, and we party hard, which you know. And, like, I think that now, and I know you and John have talked about this, like, just throwing a giant party would be, like, the way to go.
Which is still going to be really expensive.
It is. But so much less stress.
Yeah. True.
And people are stressed about the guest list and about seating arrangements. And it all seems so silly because it's not about any of that.
Right.
It's about you and the person you're getting married to. And, like, I don't know why you would put yourself through all of that stress and whatnot. You know, it should be about you and what you guys want and not about what other people want. I get wanting to, like, have the day, though. You find a beautiful dress and you see your significant other at the end of the aisle, which I can't picture John ever doing.
Absolutely not.
For you guys don't know my brother John, but he's, like, the least materialistic person ever, and he's so just, like... they would get married without telling us. Like, you guys would just go.
I made a joke yesterday, and Maria and Abby seriously got, like, mad for a second because they thought that we did.
That you got married?
We got married.
Oh, we would be pissed. Al kind of did that, actually.
Yeah.
He and Amelia got married so quickly.
Yeah, we were kind of young when that happened. I remember Maria being mad about that, though.
Yeah, we were, like, just because we didn't know everything that was going on, and we didn't know Amelia, and, like, obviously she's a great addition to the family, and I have the cutest nugget niece and nephew. And baby to come, which is to be determined. And, like, so, you know, it ended up working out, but it was frustrating at the time because, like, and we're close as siblings. Like, if John got married, I would be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, if he didn't tell me. I mean, I guess I really wouldn't care if you guys told me later and we did end up having, like, a party or something. Yeah. So I guess it's just kind of to each their own.
It's about them. Though.
It is.
So I know it's frustrating for your family because it is an important person in your life.
You're
but
right.
at the same time,
it's about you guys. Them. It's about you. So if you want to do it, just whatever.
Just tell me.
Just tell me. Just to shoot me like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Just fucking tell me.
Just tell me.
I'm holding a knife to her throat right now. And so with marriage also comes kids. Mm-hmm. And I feel like some days you get on Facebook and it's like, 27 people gave birth last week, and they all have their nuggets and whatnot. But again, we're in our 20s. Mm-hmm. Now that you have a kid, you can't just hop on a plane and go to Greece or go wherever. You know, you have to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This baby is, like,
dependent on you.
It's
can't leave it at home like a dog.
I don't want to say weighing you down, but
kind of.
And it's also scary because, you know, women are like, oh, that's what you were put on earth to do or whatever. Maybe not necessarily. You know, just because some people don't want to be parents, and some people do, and some people aren't able to have kids, and so I don't know. I think that's an interesting dynamic. Do people ever ask you and John about if you guys are gonna have kids? Except for
you guys. Mostly you guys.
I know, I feel like I pressure you, but I at least am closer to your situation, so I know, because I was going to bring up, you never know what someone's going through, so my mom has told me, you know, don't ask when people are going to have kids, because you never know if they've been trying and they haven't been able to get pregnant, or they've had miscarriages, or they've had health reasons why they can't get pregnant and have kids. But for you guys, I just want, like, a cute little thing to play with.
And then give it back.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, give it back and be like, that sucks.
Have fun.
They smell. They stink.
Just so everyone knows, I'm only 23 years old.
Yeah. Oh, she's got miles to go.
Yeah. I just like to enjoy 20s without a child, and then, you know, maybe down the road.
Yeah. Okay. You see people who are either friends or siblings or whatever, and, like, one has a kid, and then another has a kid, or one gets married and then the other gets married. Is that on purpose? Do you think it's like, or subconscious? Like,
I know people do that on purpose sometimes. Like,
yeah.
I know of people who have done that literally on purpose.
So I don't get that either, because it's like you're jumping into this giant life decision just because you want to compete with the person next to you.
Well, not necessarily compete, but some people want their kids to grow up and like be around the same age.
I guess that makes sense, but I also think that some people get married just because their friends are getting married, or some people have kids just because they, everyone's different.
Expectations of society.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Or parents being like, when am I going to be a grandma?
Yeah.
And it's like, slow your roll, old ass.
I have a dog. You can have that.
Yeah, you guys have a really cute
diaper on it.
Little dog. I don't know. My main thing with kids is like they're stressful. Yeah. They do weird shit to your body. You'll probably never be the same down there. I
had my mom's hips, and my mom had 2 C-sections with us.
Yeah.
So
pretty petite little lady. Yeah. But my other thing is like the debt that kids put you in for a lot of people, or like I have friends who are like not necessarily financially stable and they want to have kids. Bitch, you know how much kids are? Come on. Like, you know better than that. Like, just wait a few years till you're more secure, and then, have as many little nuggets that you want to pop on out. And
yeah.
The other thing from my friends who are like married and have kids, they're like, oh, the sex life completely disappears. Aww. Like, it goes away. It's just you're not even horny. And my friends who are wives, they're like, I'll occasionally give like a sympathy hand job because they're like, I pushed out a kid, and the guy asks, and it's like, you think after I went through all that shit I'm gonna go down on you? Hell no. So like they'll do the good old classic HJ.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Everyone is different, but you got to think of debt. You got to think of the physical toll. And, some people also just aren't necessarily born to be parents. I don't know if I want to have kids. I'll probably adopt.
Yeah.
I don't want to wreck all this.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I need to talk to you all about a problem. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. And the thing is, when you start to notice hair loss, it's too late. So let me ask you, do you want a bald spot to pop up, or do you want to do something about it first? Do you want your hairline to recede, or do you want to do something about it first? Do you want to be in denial like LeBron James? Probably not. Here's your solution. ForHims.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. No waiting rooms, no awkward doctor visits, and you can save hours by going to forhims.com. It's so easy, and the products are shipped directly to your door. I know there are a few members of my family who wish they would have known about this years ago. So order now. My listeners get a trial month of Hims for just $5 today, right now while supplies last. See their website for full details. This would cost you hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. Go to forhims.com/HHH. That's FORHIMS.com/HHH. forhims.com/HHH. And I know that a lot of women do feel pressure and whatnot, and I think that's why it's so important that so many more women are just kind of coming out as like feminists and saying that they believe in feminism, which is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. That is the dictionary definition of feminism. And I feel like it's okay to be a feminist because,
what's wrong with equality?
Yeah, exactly. Like we said earlier. And I think it's important to be vocal and to kind of teach kids all the things that we didn't get when we were growing up. Looking at other women not as competition. Like, we can do better. Yeah. We can place less value on physical appearance and things like that. Like, we have the ability to do that. So,
except I think it's become harder with social media. Before, I don't think our moms were as hard on themselves as like we are nowadays.
Maybe not, but yeah, I guess because
not necessarily you and I, but just like people our age.
Yeah,
like,
celebrities and whatnot, I think make it really hard. You see on social media, musicians and like the Kardashians and stuff, but they do so many treatments and so many like...
Right, but then that makes people think that like that's the beauty standard. Like if you don't look like that, then you're not beautiful. But it's like... Dude.
But we can flip the script.
Right,
it's not too late.
That's what I'm saying, but it's like, it's not like, I know we can flip it and like make it better, but it is still like it's a new thing. Like, social media is a new thing, so
Yeah.
it's something that I feel like is going to be
social
a constant
media
challenge.
has made the comparison so much worse.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think we talked about that in the fitness episode. Like, it really, really has, because
yeah.
you'll get on social media one day, you know, you're sitting on your couch in like sweatpants and your hair's on top of your head, and you're like looking at these like Instagram models, and you know, they look so bomb, and then you're like, I look like a potato. So gross. And so yeah, I mean, I think it's all about just trying to unlearn the things that we've learned.
Yeah, and just realizing that like social media is a highlight reel of that person's life. Like, that person also goes home and sits in sweatpants with their hair on their head. You know what I mean? Like eating potato chips, probably.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
But they just don't photograph it or share it with everyone.
Yeah, I think all those things are important, and no one's perfect. We don't have to be, guys or girls.
Yeah.
I know we talked a lot about women and stuff this episode, but the whole like pressure thing really does apply to men as far as marriage and kids and everything as well. So guys out there,
maybe
stay
more
strong.
So for guys when it comes to like marriage, because like they're the one that's supposed to like propose and provide. Yeah. Like that's another stress too, that like if you don't, like, it's okay if you don't like pay for everything in the household. Like, I know that's like,
and I think people in our generation are a lot better about that. Like,
for sure.
You know, like when you go on dates, like, oh, he buys one time, I'll buy another time. You know, I think we're moving towards equality more in all different kinds of aspects. So I think that's a good thing. We're making progress. We just have to kind of deal with the things that have been put in our heads our entire lives.
Right.
So hopefully we're able to do that at some point. I think little by little. And again, that's something that you do really well on your fitness account, is that you're honest with people and you talk about what you eat and what you are consuming as far as like alcohol or whatever else that wouldn't normally be seen as like healthy,
right?
You know, and I think that makes people feel better, because it's like you're human,
right? And
you're not trying to kill yourself or restrict yourself.
Yeah, that's like my main thing, because there are so many different like personal trainers who have six packs and look amazing. Like, not gonna discredit them at all, but it's not my lifestyle, and so I kind of want to like show people that like you can work out but also eat chips and pizza and drink occasionally.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a compromise. Well, it is a compromise, but it doesn't have to be like
ridiculous standards.
Like no drinking ever again in your entire life.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Life's all about being happy, so why am I gonna like starve myself for abs so I look good compared to like other people? You know what I mean?
For other people too. It's like
I feel good how I am, so I'm gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I encourage all of you guys listening to just love the skin you're in, and just try to be confident and ignore all the bullshit that is really hard to ignore.
Yeah.
It's really hard to ignore it, but...
Or maybe just not ignore it, just realize, like, either you're beautiful the way you are, or Instagram's a highlight reel, or...
Whatever you have to tell yourself to... to kind of get it in your head that, you know, just be you, and as long as you're happy and healthy or whatever, then that's all that matters. Yeah. So, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. And you can just search Cristina Capron, and I'm sure something will come up.
Something will come up. It'll probably have their dog in it, because she's obsessed with their dog.
I am.
So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, available on iTunes, Stitcher, and the CLNS Media Network. And I will talk to you guys next week.